All right. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, every night on the GSMC Sports Network, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here to talk about, everything in terms of professional wrestling. So, yeah, without further ado, just kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick. We talked about our WWE Monday Night Raw review. We had our WWE NXT preview. And now, without further ado, we're gonna jump on into the new Judgment Day. What's gonna happen? What do you think's going to happen? But before we do any of that, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the GSMCPodcast.net. Shoot me your comments, questions, and concerns. We get a number of questions from viewers like you that come in during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on air in front of millions of people, I ask you guys to use the tips and donations link at the GSMCPodcast.net. Honestly, leave what don't donate whatever. For most importantly, I just want to hear you guys' opinions about professional wrestling, your opinions about future storylines and stuff like that. Obviously, I'm more interested in that, as opposed to the quiche. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's a wrestling podcast. Definitely something that or the wrestling fandom, we automatically click. And it's I remember I was how old was I? I think I was 23 years old when I was with my friend. And we were playing beer pong against these two guys. And not to get, too, graphic, but it got to the point where, the guy kind of, he was getting annoyed. I think the guy was like 27, and obviously these two punk kids come up, and obviously we were pretty we were buzzing. We were just talking mess, and like he got pissed off, and it got to the point where he was going to fight my friend, and I was like, oh great, here we go, dude, here we go. And I think I said something. I think I said something about like it was a wrestling reference, and then the guy stopped. He looked me in the face, and I was like, "Oh crap, here we go." But no, he was like, "You like professional wrestling?" And I was like, "Yeah, the dude was like 2 times my size. I was like, "I'm the biggest wrestling fan in the world." No, but like, it was so cool because then we talked about wrestling for like the next 5 hours, and my friend, I gotta be honest, he kind of felt, he kind of was pissed off at me. Be like, "Oh, you're sleeping with the enemy." Be like, "No, dude, like, turns out he wasn't a douchebag." I mean, sorry, and you know, turns out he was a pretty cool guy. Talked about wrestling, talked about our favorite tag teams, our favorite rivalries, our Mount Rushmore, and it was great. It was pretty darn cool. So that's wrestling. That's just wrestling fans right there. Love that. Let bygones be bygones. Animosities. So so yeah, that was the story about how I almost got my ass kicked at a party, but wrestling saved my life. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this new and improved Judgment Day. Obviously, you guys all saw what happened at SummerSlam. Pretty terrible. Oh man, I just don't see how a group of these 5 individuals could be successful. I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to be mean. JD McDonough, he was great. He was great. Kind of, made into like a clown on WWE Monday Night Raw. Carlito, ever since being shown out, being the reason why he took out Dragon Lee. No, not Dragon Lee. Who did he take out? No, yeah, it was Dragon Lee. And then Rey Mysterio was supposed to pick him as a tag team partner, but then he chose Andrade, and Carlito was pissed. He was pissed. I And then Rhea Ripley and Damien Priest at the end of not at the end of Monday Night Raw, but their last showing. I kind of like the direction they're going toward. They kind of seem like they're going to still watch each other's backs. I think essentially they will move on to to the point where I feel like they're no longer are going to be like in each other's corners and stuff like that. I think right now, obviously, Rhea Ripley's still going to be there because, the Finn Balor, Damien Priest feud's going to go on for quite some time. Damien Priest, he said, honestly, it's not about the title. It's not about the title. It's about losing a brother. It's about losing a family. And Judgment Day was his family, but he said he gained a new family. He's going complete babyface. And right now, I think it's great. I think it's cool. I think him turning babyface brings in a whole new different array of possibilities to the point where he probably could get his championship back. He has his rematch clause. When will he use it? I'm not too sure. Obviously, you had Randy Orton make a statement on Monday Night Raw saying that he's going to be the next one to challenge Gunther because my left shoulder was not down. You did not cleanly get the 1-2-3 at King of the Ring. I should be in that position. I should have got a title shot. But instead, you had Gunther versus Damien Priest. And, I thought it was a little too forced. That, I think, although I do love and respect Gunther, I just think it was too soon, if that makes any sense. It would have been crazy, like if you would have had Damien Priest win the championship, and maybe Monday Night Raw when they're all celebrating and stuff like that. That's when Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, JD McDonough, and Carlito just beat the holy hell out of Damien Priest, and Finn Balor grabs Damien Priest's WWE World Heavyweight Championship, tells him, "I'm coming for this. This is a new Judgment Day." But I thought, I don't know if that would have been too predictable and would have pissed everybody off. But I thought that would have been a pretty good, that would have been a pretty darn good promo. Obviously, you see them as one big happy family right there. They were successful. I gotta be honest. I used to do a podcast with my wife. It was called like Shots Below the Belt, and we would talk about wrestling sometimes. It was mostly about sports and stuff like that. But we would talk about the big stuff in terms of pay-per-views inside, inside the WWE. And when Judgment Day, 6 months in, I was like, dude, these guys are not going to last. It's not going to last. I don't buy it. And then eventually, you kind of saw them, they kind of had a little bit of turmoil at first. Then you had Edge being kicked out. Then Finn Balor came along. And then you had Rhea Ripley, Finn Balor, Damien Priest. And then you had Edge team up with Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. They turn Dom bad. He goes against his father. They get a new stablemate there. Then you have the romance between Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio. And then, out of nowhere, JD McDonough had to prove himself. A lot of history between him and Finn Balor. And then you had the whole R-Truth thing, which was pretty funny. Pretty funny as hell, to be honest. And then the R-Truth was kicked out of the Judgment Day randomly. Then you saw Carlito start popping up. That's when Judgment Day started falling apart. And it was about 2.5, 3 long years of the Judgment Day. And they've had success. But now I see Damien Priest's career kind of heading more toward a positive direction, as opposed to I think whoever wins with Gunther and Randy Orton, I honestly, and I'm not trying to sound like a jerk or anything like that, I don't think Gunther should hold the championship that long. Obviously, we have the Bash at Berlin pay-per-view, and then I believe we have Survivor Series. In October, I think it's Hell in the Cell. And then November no, not Survivor Series. Damn it. What's in November? Oh, I gotta look it up. But overall, I think this is gonna be great for Finn as well. I've been waiting for Finn Balor to kind of jump into that singles. When he won the tag team titles with Damien Priest, I was like, oh, I guess that's cool. You know what I mean? And then now he has them with JD McDonough. I want to see him do better. I want to see him be the leader that this Judgment Day is. It's new, it's young, no egos. Yeah, cool, that's awesome. But now you are just so vulnerable. Damien Priest was kind of like a big, hefty guy. He was the enforcer. And now you don't have that guy anymore. It's going to be interesting to find out who Judgment Day decides to feud with. Maybe at Survivor Series, you can have somebody like, Jey Uso and Damien Priest come together to pick a team of guys to take on the Judgment Day. Is the new Judgment Day going to get a new member? I honestly don't think that, I don't think that would be really good for any other superstars on the Raw roster. I know there's still, right now WWE's been, in talks of signing like at least 10 new people. I'm trying to think of maybe even somebody from the NXT brand makes their way to Judgment Day. I was thinking maybe AJ Styles. But I don't know. I just, I feel like these four guys, they want to start, being successful. I really don't see why Carlito plays in this, to be honest. I'm not trying to sound mean. And then for Rhea Ripley, I feel like Rhea Ripley, she lost her rematch. Now she has to start from the bottom. There's no doubt in my mind she's going to probably be picked off, maybe perhaps by Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark. Sonya Deville versus Rhea Ripley would be a great test of, Sonya. I don't think Liv Morgan would be so, excited and so soon to put her title on the line against Rhea Ripley again. I don't think that would, prove dividends at all in terms of the entertainment factor. You kind of have to have Rhea kind of go out of her comfort zone a little bit. Something somewhere you don't really, you're not used to seeing her fight. Something you haven't seen her do ever since WWE NXT. And she's going to find her way back up to the top. There's no doubt in my mind that I feel like Rhea Ripley making it back up to the women's division on Monday Night Raw is going to be it's going to be faster than how long this new Judgment Day will last, because I just don't see it. I don't see how Finn Balor could lead JD McDonough, Carlito, Dominic Mysterio. Like, those are like four weak guys. Like, they're not main carders. So right now, Finn Balor is the only main card guy. I don't know. It should be interesting to see where they go in terms of this. The new Judgment Day on the horizon. At WWE SummerSlam, you saw Damien Priest betrayed by Finn Balor. You also saw Liv Morgan win her match because Dirty Dom was secretly in love with her, and he helped Liv pick up the victory. All right, guys. So that's my opinion about where I feel like this new Judgment Day faction is going to go. Obviously, give me your comments, questions, maybe your opinions about where do you think these five, if you count Liv, these five individuals are going to go, and if it's something positive or something negative. All right, guys, something else big happened at WWE SummerSlam. It was Roman Reigns returning, the original tribal chief. Superman punches the heck out of Solo Sikoa and spears his soul out of his body. It was pretty badass. It was great. We're going to dig into that right now as soon as we get back. So, hey, stay tuned.